Dr. Ellen here, the Midlife Whisperer. I hope you are having an awesome Wednesday. I have not done a live for, gosh, it's probably been about 8 months that I've been live on Instagram. If you've been following me, you know I kind of took a little bit of a hiatus. I got breast cancer 3 years ago and was kind of struggling off and on with my workaholism and kind of my need to kind of be out and doing so much social media. And I just realized I really need to, hey, Fashion 55, good to see you. I really needed to take a break from social media. Drop me an emoji if you know what I'm talking about. I love social media and it's super fun to be on, but it can get a little crazy, always like wanting to grow and wanting more likes, and you kind of feel up and down if your posts don't get the kind of engagement you're looking at. So it was really nice to take a little bit of a break from social media. I actually went and I became a certified yoga instructor, went to Costa Rica for the winter and taught yoga, which was super fun. Got myself a handpan. Drop me an emoji if you know what a handpan is. I will come on and play it at some point, but I'm loving doing that. But super happy to be back. I have a lot of really cool new things that I'm working on. Primarily, I am working on a new concept called dragonflying, and I'll get in that in a minute. I'm going to be talking today with Laura Hoy, who is amazing. I think she's from the States, but she is living in the UK, and I found her because she was doing all of these amazing wellness hacks like cold plunging. Drop me an emoji if you have ever tried the cold plunge. I love it and hate it. It's really painful to like drop your body into ice cold water, but it is so good for you in terms of building your immunity. Lake Champlain is right across the street from me, and I've been saying it's time to go in. So I think my man and I were waiting till May 15th, which is tomorrow. So I think we're going to go and give it a try. But today I want to talk about some of my favorite wellness hacks, why I am waiting for Laura to come on. There she is, Living Simple Mama. That's not Laura. Hi, Living Simple Mama. Good to see you. So I posted about this. This is one of my favorite new wellness hacks. I'm always looking for super quick, simple, easy things that you can just integrate into your day for your well-being. And so this is, anyone know what this is? Looks kind of strange. Oh, there is Laura. Hey, Laura. Laura H. It says she has joined. Okay, so she's about to join, and then we'll go ahead and talk about. Anyone know what this is? Drop it in the comments box if you know what this is. And you know what? Somebody guesses what this is. I am going to send you a free copy of my book, Rock Your Midlife. So drop in the box. Not you, Laura, but anybody else who knows what this is. If you know what this is, the first person is going to get a copy of Rock Your Midlife. Hey, Laura, how are you? I think I just lost her. Let's try again. Laura, are you there? She was there a minute ago. Let's see. Block, add as a moderator. Remove from live video. She disappeared. That is very strange. There we go. We'll try that way. Okay. Instagram's always changing everything. There you go. I lost you and now I found you. How are you?
I'm back.
Yes, you are. Is this your, have you done an Instagram live before?
No, it's my first time using the live function.
Oh,
Although I feel like maybe back in COVID, there was like a time or two when it was first coming around.
okay. Well, gosh, I feel excited to pop that Instagram live cherry, right? It's an awesome.
I am interested to know who has guessed what it
Nobody's
was
guessed
that you
yet.
were holding
So
up.
you're just joining. Guess what this is. And if you guess what this is and what it's for, I will send you a copy of Rock Your Midlife. So we'll wait and see if anyone guesses. If no one guesses it, then I will just share. So we want to talk about, I guess, two things. We want to talk about midlife wellness hacks. And I found you first because of your amazing, badass, dip your whole body in an ice cold plunge. And I was just saying, I'm going to go across the lake, across the street to the lake and do it because it's probably like 32 because we get so much ice melt from the snow.
Yeah.
So that's on my list of new things to try. But we want to talk about wellness hacks, and we want to talk about this whole idea of midlife crisis. Like, how did you put it, Laura? Like, 'cause you were texting back and forth and you were like, let's talk about.
Yes. So I think So I am nearing my kind of midlife big birthday, right? Which is for me 40. I feel like that was such a big milestone. And I don't know. It's just, it felt like in the months leading up to it, I was thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do this before I turn 40, right? Like once that happens, that's the end, and then we just all kind of go peacefully. But actually, I think we should romanticize this idea of a midlife crisis. Let's do it like we did for our 18th birthday, for our 21st birthday. It's like, we get this permission slip to reinvent ourselves.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that whole concept because it's kind of where I'm at. I got 22 years on you, girl. I'm 62 and I am still like reinventing. But I think what happens so much is you get that crisisy stuck, who am I stuff, and it means it's time to like step it up to a new level. And I was going to share that I'm super excited. I've just started to trademark this idea called dragon flying. And I love it as a metaphor for midlife because it's like we always have this butterfly, right? And the butterfly is like you make a cocoon, a shroud, and then you digest yourself, and then you have to like break free. But dragonflies, they are nymph stage for like 2 or 3 years. So they're in the water and they're badass. They have like a 95 success rate with their being predators. They are carnivores, they are predators. And then one evening, I like to say at the stroke of midnight, they climb up this stalk of grass in the middle of the night. They push the water that's in their body out in their wings and their thorax, and they just fly away and become these badass dragonflies. And I'm like, women want to be dragonflies, right? We don't want to be butterflies. We want to be dragonflies. So that's kind of the way I feel about midlife. Like, remake yourself into a dragonfly.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I love that you've chosen a carnivore. That's like this badass thing is what we're going to be, right? Because, yeah, I guess there's something about, I mean, there's obviously something about a butterfly that's beautiful, but there's also something very kind of delicate, fragile, fleeting about a butterfly that I think, especially for me, I mean, I don't know about you, but I sort of felt that way, like, okay, this is it, this is the end. And something that you had posted the other day really resonated with me, this idea of like, what are we just going to cry about not being young anymore? You can't go back. I'm never going to be that young, but also I'm never going to be as young as I am today. And I have kind of this huge stretch where I can be that badass person that maybe I didn't have the confidence or the experience or the wisdom to know what that was going to be like previously. So I think that's like quite a cool metaphor you've got going.
Yeah, and I just keep thinking about the butterflies and how they like tack them to they put them up like, and this emphasis on like I'm all about being cute, and I use great skincare and like I work out and take care of my body and all the things, but like women are taught that the most important thing about us is our looks and that we have to be young to be acceptable. And that is such BS. I mean, I've never felt kind of more vibrant and sexier at any other point in my life. Thank you, hormone replacement therapy. But it's possible now, right? It's possible. And I love that idea of like, let's use that tension, that crisis feeling, that stuckness to figure out how do I like break out and really make a huge transformation and become that dragonfly. So I'm curious, what are you doing? Because you're 40, so you're right on the cusp. You're probably going through the menopausal transition. Are you starting to feel the hormone shifts?
Yeah, so I've been kind of in the perimenopause camp over the past 2 or 3 years, but I think similar to many people's experience, it's very difficult to find anyone that knows about it, that believes you, that will really kind of try and help you through that. It's a very kind of brick wall when you talk about those symptoms and you come up against, yeah, that's normal, yeah, that's what happens to women of your age, that's something that you should expect to happen to you. And actually something that I try to keep in my mind, and I'm always thinking, especially as I kind of approach that age of menopause, is when after I had my children, I had tons of trouble with my pelvic floor, and I'd gone in to see the GP loads, and they kind of said, that's normal. And finally, they referred me to go and see this brilliant physio, and I went and I said, I'm having this problem, and I understand that it's normal, but it's just so uncomfortable for me. And she turned around to me and said, I hate that that's what they say, like that's normal. And she was like, it's normal because it's so many people have it, but that doesn't mean that that's the way it has to be. So her kind of ethos was, yes, it's true, loads of women are living with this, but they don't have to, you know. And I think it's the same with perimenopause, menopause, you know. The more that you kind of look into your health and push on those doors, I think you can find, like you're saying, actually we don't have to just kind of sit here and take it. Actually, we can thrive, and we should.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think menopause is a bigger, not to put anything down on less in your experience, but like all people in a female body
Yeah.
pretty much go through menopause, whether they go through medical menopause and it's just like right away, or the long slog. And there's so much that can be done. And there are doctors out there, you know, if you're listening and you're struggling, it's not in your mind. There are like 50, 60 different symptoms that women have with menopause, everything from, we know, you know, hot flashes, brain fog, but things like frozen shoulder, like things that we haven't thought of, or, you know, itchy skin, breast tenderness, you know, all types of things. And there's so much that can be done. And I also want to say too, that there's like HRT is a choice and it's not a failure. Like I chose hormone replacement therapy because even though I'm a breast cancer survivor, I didn't have estrogen, progesterone sensitive, hormone sensitive, but my mother's got wicked osteoporosis. She, God love her, is 93 and she's zipping around on her walker, but I don't want to be 4'8" when I'm 93.
Yeah.
And the only way to like keep my bones strong is HRT. I mean, you can, you know, take calcium, you can do the bone building, but it's if when estrogen declines, it's a natural part of aging. So I'm here to say, like, find the right doctor if you're struggling. And there's lots of good people here on Instagram too, lots of menopause coaches, but there are really good doctors out there who are trained in menopause medicine.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's really important about what you said, which especially, you know, for people like me who are kind of just at the very beginning of that journey. So, you know, I'm coming into it with very little information. And as well, I'm coming into it with sort of mentors from, you know, my mother's generation where that wasn't really an option, or it was, but it was considered very dangerous. And, you know, there's all this kind of fear around it. But I think ultimately the most important thing is having that information and being able to make that choice, just as you would with any other medical, you know, information. You need to know before you can say yes or no, this is right for me or it's not right for me.
Yeah, do the research. I mean, I would highly recommend reading anything by Claire Haber. I have her newest book on my iPad, but also her like Galveston Diet's really good. Mary Claire Haber is awesome. You can go to the Menopause Society. You can go to the National Menopause Foundation. So if you're a doctor, and I've had so many clients that they go to their doctor and the doctor goes like, well, it's just let nature take its course. Like that is, yes, dragonflies are like, no, I'm not gonna just let nature take its course. So I'm glad that you're like starting to educate yourself and learn about things. And it's, again, I don't take a lot of medications, but it's not a failure. It's like that's one of the things I feel like hormone medicine and getting the right prescription for yourself is a huge advancement for women, that, you know, we're even starting to say like maybe women don't have to have those symptoms. And also what happens is when you're going through menopause, your health risks increase. As estrogen goes down, your risk, we talked about osteoporosis, muscle loss, heart issues, brain issues, things like dementia. They're starting to look at if you're having hot flashes, you might be at a higher risk of, you know, diabetes, all of these other things. So I feel like, to go back to your, you know, midlife crisis, it's much more of like a wake up call to look and say, you know, I think people feel this feeling like, oh, my body's just going south. And it's not. There's so much you can do. If your body doesn't feel good, how's your diet? How's your sleep? How's your stress? And are you moving your body?
Yeah. And this is it. I think that's a perfect way to put it, is like this wake up call, which is, you know, in my 20s, I could get by on, you know, 3 hours of sleep, a whole night drinking, whatever. Now I have to really think about the health impact of what I'm doing. And I suppose, like, in a way you could say, oh, isn't that sad, right? Like now you have to be so on it with nutrition and sleep and all of that. But equally, like, doesn't it feel great to treat ourselves like we love ourselves versus just kind of getting through the day, pulling it out, you know, slogging along. So I've tried to really embrace that side of it, which is part of the reason I started doing the cold plunges. Is, you know, when I first started, well, to be honest with you, the only reason I did it to begin with was my husband wanted to do it. and he couldn't face it. When we first got it, he got it, and he's like, oh, I don't think I could stay in for a minute. And so I was like, I could stay in for a minute, you know. And then once he was in for a minute, I was like, I could stay in for 3 minutes, you know. So it was a bit of a competition for me. But once I sort of did it a few times, the physical benefits, I suppose, were a little bit less apparent. Although now that I've been doing it for some time, I do notice, like, with my circulation's a little bit better. But for me, it's actually been a huge mental benefit. It feels like something I'm doing, a hard thing for myself, you know, to take care of myself for that longevity, so I'll be better off in the future. And so when I get in there and I think, oh God, I don't think I can put myself in again, and then I do, and then I stay, you get out and you feel like, yeah, like I did that. I've built that up for myself. I've kept that promise for myself, you know, and you kind of build up these small wins. And I think it really empowers you to do other hard things.
And I just want to give an applause to Sarah, who says HRT right away for me was a no-brainer. So good for you. And also let people know, guess what this is? I'll say, fuck, if you guess right. So yeah, the cold plunge thing, just so if you're listening, wondering like, what is with this cold plunge thing? When you shock your body in a way that is safe, right? And then you don't want to be doing this like when you have a cold, when you're sick.
No.
But when you shock your body, something like cold plunges, I'm trying to think, intermittent fasting, not something I recommend. I've been a dietitian for 30 years, so not something I recommend if you have eating disorders or you're doing it for weight loss. But when you put your body into like a stressed state, it gets stronger. Just like when you go to the gym and, you know, you lift muscles, your muscle fibers break down and they build up stronger. And that's why you get muscles. So it's a good way to shock your system. I love it. It feels really good. Like sometimes our shower here in Vermont's pretty cold. So I'll go in the, one of my hacks is I've got that infrared blanket, like
Oh,
sauna
yeah.
blanket. So
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
blanket and sweat my ass off and then jump in the cold shower, and it feels so good. I just want to say you feminism _ menopause. As my journey led me to become a menopause coach in South Africa, I am post-menopause 59 and living my best life yet, and sending much love from sunny South Africa. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
But I think that's my mission. I was just rewriting my bio, and if you check out my profile, let me know what you think. But my mission is to get like 100,000 women, midlife women plus, to get much more on this. This is the best time of life. I have to say, at 62, I am having so much fun. I've got a new man. Today we're celebrating 58 months, so almost 5 years. I live in Costa Rica and Vermont. I've got all of these kids. I've got my beautiful 2, and then I've got his 3, plus the girlfriends, boyfriends. And it's so fun. It's so effing fun. I don't know why the media gives us this idea that like we're little old ladies with gray hair using walkers.
Yeah.
Like I feel vibrant and alive. And I love this conversation about feeling vibrant and alive. I had a client yesterday, and she was doing weightlifting, and she dropped it for some reason. She was saying, you know, I need to get back to that. When I'm strong, my body feels good. I feel like a badass.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so much to be said for that. And funnily enough, actually today I went into the CrossFit, which is nearby us, and I said, look, you know, I'm changing, you know, I want to be a badass. And and I kind of went in there thinking, you know, am I going to be kind of the oldest person? Am I in here with a bunch of 18-year-olds who are, you know, going to make me feel horrible? And the guy that I met with, he said, you know, our average age is 40, 45 years old. And he said, you know, why not be as strong as you can? And you're only going to reap the benefits of that, from the way you feel to feeling like you can do hard things to, you know, having a healthy, strong body. So I'm all for that.
Yeah, I love that too. And, you know, and I realized, like, I went and I saw my son is 24 and he's in a band. And then we went on this porch fest over the weekend to see him. And I was definitely the oldest person. It was like there were like 500 people out on the street. And I started feeling a little weird. And I realized I'm perpetuating ageism by when I go to class or CrossFit and I feel like I'm the oldest person in the room. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, age is a number. It doesn't, like, I see my parents at 93 and 94. They're so vibrant, you know, mentally. And I think we have to really work on our own mentality and say, like, I'm too old for CrossFit, or I'm the, you know, oldest person here. And I love that you're doing that, because I have to say, lifting weights, if you're listening, is absolutely key. I want to say that we get the exercise equation so wrong. We look at exercise as either a punishment or a weight loss method, and it is neither. Like, taking care of your body and lifting, you feel so good. Like when you get on an airplane, you can put your bags up, you know, you flex your biceps, and you're like, yeah, I can next somebody. I feel good. I feel strong. I can pick up those groceries. I do a ton of gardening, And so I'm really strong to be able to do that. But I think this whole idea, exercise, if you're listening, exercise is not a weight loss method. The amount of calories that you burn from moving your body, whether it's cardio or some combination of cardio and strength training, isn't really that much. And we actually often compensate by overeating because our appetite goes up partially. And also we think, oh yeah, I went to the gym, so now I can like have that threesome with Ben and Jerry's. So I think exercise is so important. It's one of my cornerstones. Exercise, healthy diet, keeping your stress under control, and sleeping and resting are so key. But it's not, I think we need to also just get away from this whole thinking about weight loss all the time. That's my other thing, pro-aging and like anti-diet and like not focusing on weight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just to say, to go back to the gardening, I've recently started to garden, which I'm loving, but I think we've been sleeping on the gardeners, you know? I mean, you see all these different professions and hobbies that people do, and it's like, okay, fire people, police officers, all of that kind of thing, like, oh, they're so strong. We are sleeping on the gardeners because it is such hard work. I mean, I get to the end of a day of gardening and I mean, I'm full body sore.
Yeah, well, I'm really blessed. My man, first day he showed up with 24 roses and a cooler filled with vegetables that he had grown himself.
Oh,
So he last year put in 32 blueberry bushes. I think this year we probably have 16 fruit trees. If you follow,
wow.
you'll see it's insane. I'm in charge of pest management, so the weeding and the bugs and the cooking up of everything because he's not a cook. And the putting everything up, even though we put up, I think we made like 40 liters of sauerkraut. So we make tons
Oh,
of sauerkraut and salsa,
wow.
and he doesn't go to the gym, and he's 65 and he's pretty hot, I have to say. I mean, looks are it is important, but he's so strong too. He can like pick up a big piece of furniture and like move it. It is gardening is amazing. Plus, it's so functional.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
doing everything. I want to say hello to Cindy who's joined and Claire who's joined. If you have a question about wellness, let us know. And again, if you know what this is my newest wellness tool. I've been using it. If you know what this is and what it's for, I will send you a copy of my book, Rock Your Midlife. So I'd love to share some wellness hacks. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
start off. This is a super easy thing to do. It's called skin brushing. So it's really important to remove the dead skin cells and brushing your skin. It's really good for keeping the circulation going. I do a lot of skin brushing, and I also do things for lymphatic drainage, again because I've had breast cancer and I'm a BRCA2 carrier, so I have a high risk of breast cancer. So I'll do I'll do this under my arms 34 times, and I'll sort of punch back here and jump up and down the trampoline. So those are some stuff I do for lymphatic drainage. You mentioned the cold plunging. What are the advantages of cold plunging? Why do you do it besides the
Yeah.
fact you feel like a
Well,
badass?
so, I mean, I do, and I would say for me at least, the mental benefits are probably top of the list. And a lot of my wellness hacks are very based around kind of mental health because that's, I think, what I kind of struggled with in the lead up to this kind of midlife crisis. But the other big benefit with the cold plunging is circulation. So it really helps to keep your circulation healthy as you age. And that's the reason that my husband and I initially started doing it.
All right. Well, you're inspiring me to go into the lake. I also have gotten rid of so many toxins. I mean, it started with diet, and I eat, and for listening, I recommend whole food, plant-based diet, stay away from packaged foods. And I've also really gotten into the detoxing on both my skincare products, so things like toothpastes and lotions you put on your skin, and cleaning products, because all of these things have what's called hormone disruptors. So if you're going through menopause, you don't want to be taking things that are going to disrupt your hormones even more. And I have this great app that I love. My neighbor, I'm so blessed with having these little older aunties as role models. That's another hack. Find older role models that you look up to, and younger people too, like socialize with a whole array of different ages. But it's called Yuka. It's Yuka. Yuka, Yuka. And all you do is you aim it at your product. So like I use, my favorite lip stuff is Burt's Bees. You just take a look at the code, and it'll rate everything from 0 to 100. It'll tell you exactly all the additives that are in it. So like I did, I think like Fruit Loops were probably like a 0. American Fruit Loops, but it's fun. You can just take it to the grocery store. I think I donated like $15 to be able to use it all the time, and I absolutely love it. And I've gotten rid of a lot of like I still haven't found a good gel. I've got curly hair, so I still use something that's a little toxic, but most of my shampoos, conditioners, right now I'm trying a new skin line from Froya, which is from Scandinavia. So I really like the look and feel of it. So I'll see if it works. But that's something I've been doing, is getting rid of the toxins in everything, personal care products, certainly food, all the food additives, and also the cleaning products like baking soda and vinegar does a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So interestingly, I'd be interested to know, like, what are you looking out for in terms of especially skincare sort of products? Because I feel like it's such a minefield when you go out there and try and work out what is clean and what's just being marketed as being clean.
Yeah, and I want to bravo to Demi. She uses the Yuka app for toxin free. It's so awesome and it's so much fun. If I can't pronounce it, just like I don't recognize it. It's something that sounds like it's a petroleum product. Like, why would you put a petroleum product on your skin? Like, I was at my parents' house again, and they were using some skin products, some of which had a zero. It had BHT, which is a very common preservative that's used. So anything that I don't know what it is, like if I'm not going to put it in my mouth, don't put it on your skin. Hey, Manu, good to see you. If you put it on your skin, your skin absorbs it. Like the skin is the largest organ in your body. So I'm just looking out for anything that I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But the yoga
Yeah.
app is super easy. You just aim it, you shoot it at whatever you're using. Pretty much, in terms of food, I would say don't eat anything your grandmother wouldn't have eaten. So just I stay away from processed products other than, I use pastas. I really like bean pastas because they're high in protein, they're high in fiber. Something for midlife women, I'm always trying to encourage midlife women, get enough protein. You need like at least 75, 80 grams a day. So those bean pastas help. So I don't use a lot of, processed things that come in packages. I would say most of my groceries are just whole foods. They're fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, but the packaged stuff, those aisles with, cookies and crackers and things like that, I don't use. And then in my skincare products, again, if it's some kind of like number, with some weird sounding name, we don't
Yeah.
also watch out for anything that says fragrance, because fragrance can be anything. So I just try to keep things as natural as possible.
Yeah. So I always find like there's been so much now that we can see in terms of what's healthy for you food wise, right? Like there's just so much information out there. But in terms of skincare, I always find that a little bit trickier to work out kind of what works and what doesn't. So I'm definitely going to try that app.
Yeah, and I'll send you that again. I think it's Froya, Froya. I'm using it right now, and it's like you look at the list of ingredients, and it's just plants. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like plants that grow, and you're talking about the cold plunges, plants that grow in Scandinavia. I think it's Norway, that have to be really, really strong to be able to survive those winters and like bloom in the summer. So I just try to keep just natural things, like things that come from the earth, that aren't chemicals, that aren't man-made and manufactured. But you can I would recommend that you don't need to throw everything away, but like gradually go through your products, you use them up, and then just replace them with something that is better. Your nose can help too. I also recommend not using fluoride toothpaste. I mean, this whole idea about fluoride is that fluoride actually shrinks your pineal gland. So your pineal gland is kind of where your soul like kind of communicates with the higher realms. And I think that, that's been something that's been put into our water supply, into our foods. And I would highly recommend too, for hacks, get a water filtration. I was at I have a wonderful primary care doctor, and I was talking to him about microplastics. There's been a lot of writing about microplastics these days, which are like little plastics, again, that are in lots of different products. And I was looking at it in tea bags, and I started using bulk tea. And he said, just worry about your water and worry about your air. So I bought a air filtration, and we have water filtration. But like the big things, I think that's what I love about things that you will do every day. And we're still looking for somebody who knows what this is. I cannot believe nobody knows what this is. This is like my new wellness hack. And I think it's making a huge difference for my microbiome. So.
I tell you what, I am not surprised that nobody knows what that is. I think the only reason I know is because I know you. So But I am looking forward to hearing about it because I would love to hear like what benefits you've seen and all of that.
Yeah, it's been huge. I just want to bring up my list too. I wanted to talk real briefly too about the Yucca app, just a couple of hacks. I've shown the trampoline. That's another awesome thing to do. Fantastic exercise. 10 minutes is like 30 minutes of running. If you don't have a lot of time, it's fun, good to do with your kids. My dog loves it. I
So
talked
I
about,
can vouch for that one because since you said that, I we have like a really old one that our kids use. And the last couple of days as I've been cleaning up the playroom, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give that a go. And I tell you what, I can't say, exactly what it's done for my body, but again, in terms of my mind, it really improves your mood to jump on the trampoline for a little bit.
yeah, it improves your mood. It's good for bone health. It's low impact. It's great for cardio. It's fun. So you do it. And it's really, really good for lymphatic drainage. So your lymph system is kind of how your immune system gets rid of stuff through the lymph, but there's no pump. It's not like your heart is a pump, but your lymph
Okay.
system isn't a pump. So I would say this isn't so much a hack, but I would say in terms of diet for women, the biggest things are getting enough protein, eating more plants, and not eating processed foods. You want to get protein because as estrogen goes down, we start to lose, and as we age, we start to lose muscle mass. So it's really important to get enough protein so that your body's not using its own muscle mass for building for amino acids for building new muscle. The plant foods are super important. Lots of phytoestrogens to help with everything. Like it can help some foods like soy can really help with what's called phytoestrogen. So they are kind of plant forms of estrogen. Also, your plants are having a lot of fiber. Sometimes when we get more constipated as they go through menopause, and it keeps your digestive system working, fiber fills you up, and plants contain tons and tons of what's called phytochemicals, which can help with some of the menopausal symptoms, things like hot flashes, and inflammation. Because estrogen goes down, inflammation goes up. So plants are important, and then not having the processed foods because your body is going to potentially look at those as an invader, and that can create inflammation and all kinds of problems. So you want to stay away. Processed foods also kind of hijack your taste buds, so it's easy to eat too much. So you cut the sugar, the salt, the fat away from your diet and get used to more natural food. So that's kind of my hacks for midlife nutrition. Supplements, I would say magnesium is really important to get enough magnesium because it calms your nervous system. It supports your sleep. It can help with balancing out your hormones. Vitamin D3 and K2 are really important together. D3 is important for the bone health. And I would say omega-3 fatty acids are really important. We don't get enough omega-3 fatty acids. They're important for reducing inflammation, really important for brain health. And I like to take collagen too. I take collagen and I take creatine for the collagen for all of it's the most protein you have in the body, the most common. So for skin and hair and nails, and the creatine is really good for like brain health. So that's kind of my supplement list.
Yeah, so actually that was on my list as well. I also take creatine,
Oh,
and I
good.
think it's really interesting because I grew up in a time where creatine was almost like demonized. It was like next to if you're not going to be on steroids, maybe you would be on creatine. And so when I first started looking into the benefits of taking creatine, I was nervous thinking, "Oh gosh, what's this?" But actually the more you look into it, you find I mean, of course, if you abuse it in massive amounts, it's unhealthy for you. But there are just so many studies, and really credible studies showing the benefits of creatine on brain health. So I would absolutely recommend people look
Yeah,
into that.
and muscle as well. And I would say too, big plugs for prebiotics and probiotics. So I'm actually doing some course creation for the Center for Nutrition Psychology. If you haven't checked them out, super important about the relationship between nutrition and mental health. So mental health affects how you eat, and how you eat actually affects your mental health. And we're just starting to realize that. But gut health is super important. And what happens is as estrogen goes down, your gut bacteria, so the microorganisms in your gut, your microbiome, starts to resemble more of the male microbiome, which is interesting. So it loses some of
Yeah.
the number. And so what probiotics are they are the actual microorganisms. So you can take a probiotic supplement, or you can also eat things like kimchi, sauerkraut, pickles, yogurt, kefir. Those are all really good foods that contain those microorganisms. And then the prebiotics are the things that feed the probiotics.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would second that. I think a probiotic
Okay,
is super important. Although,
we have a winner.
did someone guess?
We have a winner.
Yay! Yay!
You've won. You've won. Debbie, you've won the tongue scraper.
All right, go on. I've been waiting then. Let's hear about
All
the
right, let's
tongue
try that.
scraper. Thank you for winning that
Debbie,
because I've been waiting to hear the results of the tongue scraper.
can you send me your information and I will get a copy of the book out to you? So if you DM me your um, full name, address, and I will get you a book. So this is a tongue scraper. I started doing this when I came back from Costa Rica about, I guess we came back 4 weeks ago. And I just got this book on Ayurvedic things. I knew about it. And actually Kenny had one, my man had one of these. And so it's kind of gross. You kind of like do this every morning. But like what's grosser is like what comes off in the morning. It like takes all of this bacteria off of your tongue. It's super easy. It takes me like, I don't know, 30 seconds. I do it first thing in the morning. And there's like white pasty stuff. And what happens is that kind of takes out of the bad bacteria. I guess when you're sleeping, there's probably some like toxin release that happens. So it gets rid of that bad bacteria and then just brush your teeth and go on with your day. But I kind of noticed, like you were saying with the cold plunges over time, all of this reduction of the toxins that I'm taking to my body, I just feel so effing good. Like, but this is definitely my newest hack. I do it every morning. It's easy. I do that
Yeah.
in brushing, and then I do something called the 5 Tibetans, which I have to do a video about that. It's 5 different exercises I've been doing for years. But yes, Demi got the tongues. She got it right. And
Well
it's always,
done, Demi.
but I really like it. So there you go.
That's interesting. So I mean, I tell you what, a 30-second thing that you can add into your routine, I feel like, and especially if it's stacked on top of brushing your teeth, right? Because you do that always twice a day, so it's easy enough to add in. But my question would be, what's the difference between doing that and like brushing?
Well, brushing isn't going to get like the bacteria that is going to be released overnight on your tongue,
Yeah.
just your teeth. So, I mean, I guess
Okay.
you can brush your tongue with your toothbrush, but this is a lot, honestly, it's a lot more effective. If you used it, you'd be like, oh my God, I didn't even
Yeah.
realize how much gunk is like accumulating overnight. I was going to say one thing to do, like a 30-second to do when you're brushing your teeth, standing in line, stand on one foot. Like the balance thing is really important. And when you are balancing, I was a personal fitness trainer for years, and you're balancing, you're using your whole core. So like thinking about things that you could do, swinging your arms more when you're walking. I'm actually, one hack I really want to try is the weighted vest. I've been seeing a lot
That
of
was
menopause.
on my
I
list.
know.
So
Um,
weighted vest is for sure on my list. I've had ankle weights and wrist weights, which I use often like to take the dog for a walk or just out with errands. And I do notice actually I'm more tired at the end of it. But my sister has just bought like an actual weighted vest, and she said it's much harder than you would imagine. So I'm looking forward to trying
yeah,
that one.
that's what I'm gonna get. And so Demi says toothbrush is softer, not deep into the tongue. I think you're right. Like if you use,
Okay.
I just get a lot of stuff. It's kind of gross, but I know it's better off me than in me, right?
Yeah.
So just to recap, if thank you all for listening. So we're talking cold plunge. I think you could just take a cold shower to
Yeah.
start. Like just, I use my phone just to try to like stand there for 3 minutes and spin around a bunch of times, or fill your bathtub up with cold water and do a cold plunge. We actually have a Swedish spa that has heat and then has a cold plunge that I like to go to do that. So we talked about cold plunges. We talked about the Yucca app, Yuka. Totally one of the best things I've started to use. We talked about the tongue scraper. We talked about the skin brushing and lymphatic drainage with things like jumping on your trampoline. Talked about the diet of really focusing on plants, protein, and less processed foods. Actually, one final thing I want to say too is I cannot emphasize enough the importance of stress reduction. And I have a new freebie called the Anxiety Freedom from Anxiety Kit. If you're interested, just either put in the comments kit or DM me kit, and I will send it to you, where I've got like practices to help you to reduce anxiety and stress. What happens is, so cortisol and estrogen come from the same precursor, pregnenolone. So what happens is when your estrogen's naturally going down, or it's fluctuating like this when you're going through menopause, it actually can go up really high too, because sometimes your body wants to push out that egg, so you can get like peaks in estrogen and then it goes down. But the estrogen and the cortisol are like vying for the same precursor. So what happens is if you've got a lot of stress, it's using all of that pregnenolone, and there's nothing left to make the estrogen. And so we're stressed out, by what's going on in the world and our families and all kinds of things. But stress reduction is so, so important. It's important to like work on your mindset and reminding yourself that you're safe, working on things like breath work and having stress reduction methods, whether that's like playing with your kids, your pets, getting a hug. Eating a healthy diet can be helpful. Drinking enough water is really important for things like anxiety, but keep your stress and anxiety under control, because that is huge. It's like throwing gasoline on the menopausal fire. When you're
It's
stressed, everything worse.
That is such an interesting explanation, because I would say everybody is always saying, oh, it's really important to keep your stress levels down. And I think there's certainly myself and probably another subset of people who are thinking, okay, but I'm always stressed, okay, but I have a lot of stress in my life. And I think that explanation that you've just given of, yeah, it's important, not just because, it changes the way you look or anything like that. It's actually has this real physical challenge that it presents for you. I mean, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, and it also the DHEA, so the things chilling out. So I also in that kit you get a heart math technique. Heart math is great, where you're just focusing on the area of your heart, breathing into your heart. What that does is it helps to kind of reset your nervous system. The deep breathing is really powerful. So I have a like 4-4-4 box breathing, because when you're doing deep breathing, what's happening is you are deactivating the sympathetic fight and flight nervous system, and you're activating the parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system. So much you can do. But one thing that you said, Laura, was it's our default mode, right? The brain doesn't like what is going to necessarily make you live long or be happy. It likes what's familiar, and we are addicted to stress and cortisol. We just are. It's what's comfortable. I know with me, I'm really trying to break free from anxiety myself, and just realizing, oh my God, I feel anxious right now. Like, why? And then doing exercises for my body and my brain. I created the kit for myself because I realized I've been chronic anxiety and stress my whole life. And with this breast cancer risk, and everybody should, for all of your, inflammation, feeling good, reduce the stress. But I was like, you know what? I need to take this to another level and not make that my default mode. So just making joy, compassion, whatever makes you happy, your joy, your default mode, not the stress. Because we're so into
Yeah.
stress.
And like you said, sometimes you don't even realize it. I had a conversation the other day with my sister-in-law, and we were talking about this idea of rushing all the time. And we were saying, sometimes I'm rushing actually for no reason. And it's noticing in that moment, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Why is this happening? And that was something that you'd said to me a little while ago, or maybe you posted it, and it was about maybe we should start noticing and paying attention to our anxiety. Like, it's telling you something and you need to pay attention to it, embrace it, and then move forward. So I do think the first step is really noticing how you're feeling and being present to be able to feel that.
Yeah. So I always say, name it, you tame it. So hello, this is anxiety. What that does is it takes it away from your fight and flight nervous system back here, the reptilian brain, and it brings it into your frontal cortex. Feel it, you heal it. So, oh my gosh, where do I feel anxiety? Is it like a tightness in my chest, my jaw, my throat, my tummy? And then how do I just soften, soothe, and allow that area, that area, and allow it to be there? And when you look it straight in the face and say, this is anxiety, this is what I'm feeling in my body, and you do those somatic practices where you're combining that body awareness with the mental awareness that it's anxiety, you start to be able to manage it instead of it managing you. And the body piece is really important. That's why I'm all for therapy. But if you're just focusing on the therapy, it's kind of like you're just talking about the anxiety. You have to work with the body, because what happens is if the body feels anxious, I'll give you an example. I was watching Goodfellas the other night, which is super violent. Great movie, Scorsese, but uber violent. I started feeling incredibly anxious because it was like kind of stressed out and a little fight and flight from seeing like all of this violence and blood and this terrible stuff. Still a great movie. And I was like, oh my God, my body's feeling anxious and my brain's reading this, because most of what's happening is 80% is body to brain, 20% is brain to body. So the body's like, I'm feeling out of sorts. And the brain's going, oh, this is anxiety. And then the brain's saying to the body, okay, we need to like gear up the cortisol and get ready for something terrible is going to happen. So yeah, there's so much that you can do, and it comes down to learning practices, using them, and being present, because anxiety is always some imagined future. It's never in the present moment. I'm writing your
Yeah. And I think exactly what you said, like we're addicted to it, right? Because I feel the same often when I'm reading. You know, it's like the more stressed out I am, the more I want to keep going and the more I get worked up about it. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you know, if I'm listening or I'm reading something that's true, you know, like a true documentary, a true crime thing, I'm then immediately wanting to go and talk about it. Like, can you believe that this happened? And how could you do this? And it's an addiction, right? That it almost feels good to feel so worked up like that.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. So if you're struggling with anxiety, get the kit. It's the Freedom from Anxiety kit. Just comment kit here or DM me kit and I will get it out to you. And Laura, it's been so good. We should do this again.
Yeah, definitely. This was excellent. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. And now I'm going to go and get inspired and go jump in Lake Champlain. Question is, do I wear my wetsuit or not wear my wetsuit?
No, you've got to go with no wetsuit.
No wetsuit.
Or if it's the first time, you know, wear the wetsuit and see how you get on. But
we actually bought the wetsuits at I live in a little island on Lake Champlain, and we have an auxiliary fire department. It's all volunteer, and we have this big flea market. And a couple of years ago, they had his and her wetsuits that actually fit us $10. So I have these wetsuits just sitting there.
Yeah, well, then you've got to use them, really. It'd be rude not to.
I'm used to swimming in the warm Pacific in Costa Rica. I will take a video and let you know how. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you all for being here. And Demi, thank you so much.
Yes, congratulations.
Scraper. I will send you a book, and we'll see you soon. I'm Dr. Ella, the Midlife Whisperer.
Yeah.
And share your URL, Laura.
So I'm Laura Hoy, and I am just in chaos midlife crisis. So
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Bye.